Oh, now we're live. Welcome, everybody. I am so excited to have you here today. We got people joining us from YouTube. We got people joining us from Facebook. And I'm super excited to be here with Cassandra Williams. Thank you so much for being here. I am Jethro Jones. I didn't put my last name on my screen. Is that okay? We good?
That's fine. You're great.
Okay, good. So, welcome. This is how to supercharge your coaching with artificial intelligence, brought to you by SchoolAI. And we're excited for this great opportunity to chat with Coach Extraordinaire Cassandra Williams. So, first of all, I want to welcome everybody here today. And if you don't mind putting in the comments wherever you're watching, please do so. Say where you're from, what your role is, and this one's a little bit wacky, but what is your favorite breakfast food? I will go first and share that my favorite breakfast food is pancakes. I just cannot get enough of them, and I eat them all the time. Cassandra, oh, and I'm in Spokane, Washington, and I'm with SchoolAI. Cassandra, what is your favorite breakfast food?
Well, I love eggs, anything like eggs omelet, scrambled, over easy. Like I'm an egg person.
Okay, I can dig that. All right, and we'll see some of these comments coming in here shortly, I believe, and I'm
Mhm.
looking forward to seeing that. So, first, I'd like to tell you a little bit about School AI. School AI is a company that is working to set teachers free and help them be the best that they can be with using AI as a tool to help them improve what they're doing. So, we're talking about things like preparing lesson plans in a simple and easy way, of course, attuned to whatever your particular district format is. We're talking about frictionless formative assessment and getting data from students in the moment and being able to provide one-to-one coaching for specific students. And we're going to show a little demo of that, hopefully at the end of this today. And let me tell you, it is amazing when you think about bringing your students in and having them learn and get better right there in the moment using the power of artificial intelligence. But with that being said, I would like to, we'll get to that later, like to introduce Cassandra Williams, who is our guest, even though this is on her Facebook group, but that's how the internet works. It's amazing. Thank you for being here, Cassandra. Cassandra is the founder of Educational Innovation 360 and is a tireless advocate for helping improve instruction. Anything else you want to say about yourself, Cassandra?
I love coaching. I love supporting teachers. My goal is 1 million teachers I got to be able to support. So I love working with teachers.
Awesome. So I could have put a bunch of different things in your bio here, but I just wanted to make sure people knew that you do love coaching and that you're great at it. And I've been able to know you. I looked in my email when we first connected. It's been over 2 years now. Can you believe that?
Gosh,
Yeah,
man.
I know.
Wow. Can't believe that. No.
Feels
When I
like
went on
just,
your show, it was amazing. Like,
oh, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to do some rapid fire questions from you, Cassandra. Would love to hear your responses. So you're going to have about 60 seconds to answer these. And so the pressure's on, and hopefully you can do well with that. And if you go, it's going to be a countdown timer. And if you go past it, I'm not going to kick you off the stream. But I do want to have you give your input on these ideas. So, first question is, how has AI already impacted your work?
oh man. So, wow. I mean, just being able to get ideas. AI has been great with kind of thinking of sometimes with feedback, with questions that you want to really support each individual teacher. You kind of got to dive in and go a little deeper. So AI really gives me questions that I can ask my teachers to really get them to see some of the data points that I've pulled from their classroom. So that is the main way that AI, and then just brainstorming project-based learning activities that I can give to my teachers for them to try, right? Sometimes, I've read so many books on project-based learning, but sometimes it's good to have a quick thing that I can give and provide my teachers.
Cool.
Trying to
Very
beat the
good.
time. Beat the
Yeah.
time.
You beat the time. You left a little bit of extra time. I think that's great. I think the brainstorming piece is severely underrated. People are talking about a lot of different things, but man, just having a brainstorming partner has been really powerful and coming up with different ways to bring different things in that you might not have thought of otherwise. Really powerful. Okay, next question is, what are the benefits and drawbacks that you anticipate as education embraces AI?
Wow. Some of the benefits is a lot of people will get ideas. They will get great ideas, at least a starting point. I think some people, when they, to start this, it's great. But I think some of the drawbacks are like, well, let me go back. I'm thinking with AI and broadband and technology, just access to different curriculum, modules, sessions, um, other opportunities. It could be so powerful, but I do think the drawbacks are like maybe people abusing it, or maybe so much content coming from it that it maybe hinders students from actually doing other alternative measures for finding work and research. So,
I do think some of those risks do exist for sure. And I think there's definitely a risk of not doing the work that we need to do and passing it off to let something else do it for us. But like you, I see a lot of benefits, especially in the access arena, where being able to access things that you wouldn't be able to access otherwise is really powerful. In fact, just today, ChatGPT enabled plugins, which means that you can plug into different services on the internet and also supposedly through Zapier as well. And I gotta say, when you can do stuff like that, you can ask ChatGPT to order stuff from the grocery store for you using Instacart or something like that, which is pretty amazing. Ask it for a recipe and then order from the grocery store. Like, whoa, that's
right?
going to enable people to do some pretty amazing things. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
next question. How will AI change the role of instructional coaches?
Hmm. I don't know. I think it'll give us just more tools. We can have asynchronous learning. So we can program maybe mini modules for teachers, as well as give them the face to face, so we can kind of differentiate the support that we give our teachers. I think we're using it a lot right now with reading comprehension, rotating students to groups, rotating students to the carpet, like giving them the different modes of support. We use it in talk and type, any type of speech recognition, adaptive learning. I do think that there are so many ways that we can do it. And the main way is just uh, projects, like giving students the opportunity to create things based on some of our current issues in the world.
Yeah, one of the things that we're building with School AI that's really cool is getting to know your students in ways that you may not get to know them. So, for example, as we're doing the assessment at the end of a lesson, adding in a question about what their favorite band is so that it will then create a Spotify playlist based on what all the kids in your class said they like. So you can have like a period 3 language arts Spotify playlist that will have a song from every kid's favorite band, which would be a pretty cool thing to do. So think about that
Yeah.
personalization when it comes to instructional coaches with what they could do with the teachers that they work with. I think the possibilities are endless. Anything to add there that you're thinking?
Man, I'm thinking so many things like what does mentorship look like? giving tutors tools, giving tools to people that come in, supports, and having students working with other people outside of the classroom and giving them the supports. So, I mean, there's so many ways that we can use technology, but, AI is really pushing us to enhance our just regular capabilities.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, last question in the hot seat is what
Okay.
skills will students need to learn to succeed in the future?
Wow. I really think we are going global. We are thinking about, like, of course, digital literacy is helping us equal the playing field. Everybody's using mobile devices, the internet, of course, critical thinking, problem solving to the current issues from global warming. It'll help us analyze information more, like with data sets. Um, and just being creative. I think it will help other creatives because we have access to internet and broadband. We will be able to think outside the box and learn from everybody in the world. That's kind of the way I see it. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the big skill that every kid's going to need in the future is knowing how to analyze information and what to do with that information. That's something that has been a needed skill for quite some time, but I think it's just going to become more and more necessary. I think because of how good deep fakes are already, um, we're going to see, especially in the next election cycle, which is where those kinds of things always come out. We're going to see a lot of evidence of real footage being released that people won't believe and call it a deep fake, and fake footage that people will release that people will think is real. And it's going to be very hard to understand exactly what is what. And
Yeah.
so analyzing information and knowing what is beneficial and what is real is going to be really important. So
Right. And then that thinking about that that's the drawback, right? To decipher real and fake and understand the difference. And then I think eventually it will be hard to make the claim that it wasn't the person, because AI is getting so much better, so much faster every day.
yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's move on to our little presentation today, which is supercharging your coaching. So, uh, when I think about what it is that a coach needs when it comes to artificial intelligence, I think of three things. Well, really, it all boils down to one thing that has three steps to it, which is justifying your position with data that speaks to administration. And so this is something that I think is really important. As a coach, you are a leader in the school and you are not often seen as a leader in the school. Am I nailing that right or what, Cassandra?
Yes, you are. You are. And then to constantly reinforce that, to share how great you are to the principal so she understands the value that you bring.
Yep. And this is really challenging because not all coaches are good at self-promotion and saying what it is that they're doing. They're not always good at being able to demonstrate and point to the things that work. And especially when it comes to data, which we'll talk about in just a second, you can't always find the data that shows what you're doing. And sometimes you kind of like force things in there to make it work, even though it's not exactly the great data. So,
Yep.
what's the data that all leaders are looking for? All the principals and district admin, they're looking for improvements in academic testing, right? NWA MAP scores, state testing, uh, RCBM, different kinds of scores that you're doing in your school. They're looking for that. So they want to see those increases. Now, the challenge is that those increases don't always reflect you as the coach. A lot of times, they don't even reflect the teacher, but we still judge them as though they do. And the key point with this kind of big data that we're talking about is that it's legislatively convenient to be able to say this school is succeeding or this school is failing based on these big metrics. But it's not always accurate. It's not always telling the whole story. Now, I want you to think for just a moment as you're watching this, think of an example of a student whose life was changed by the impact of a teacher and that didn't show up on the test. How hard is that? That's not very hard, right? Because we all know that these things happen. Now, think about yourself as a coach. What kind of impact have you had on a teacher that didn't show up on their test results?
Right.
Tons, right? And
Yeah.
so it's easy to get discouraged and think I'm not making a difference. And it's easy to feel like you're trying and working really hard and it's just not coming together because you're not seeing the test score results. But here's the whole point. Even without that, you can show how what you're doing is really powerful. That's where we come to the identify your approach and the parameters that you're using. So think about what the leadership wants and how can you take the information that you're getting and get something back that shows how this was beneficial. So we're going to then go to interacting with ChatGPT for ideas and evidence and manipulating our data to make it show what we need to show. And here's where the key piece with that is. What we want to do is we want to turn qualitative data into quantitative data. So we want to take the good stories, the good things that we're hearing from people, and we want to turn that into good data that says, here's the impact that I'm making. So think about the categories that you can put things into and the tags that you can create from it. And I'm going to go through an example here of something that I did recently where I was coaching a group of about 40 assistant principals. And I'm going to talk about the things that we learned from doing this. Now, the key piece here is how do we turn qualitative data into quantitative data? Cassandra, do you mind sharing a few of the things that you collect as a coach when you're working with teachers?
Yeah, so of course I collect, usually I'm doing evidence of what's going on in the classroom. Like I could do timestamps. So it would be like engagement, um, how much teacher talk versus student talk. It may be maybe the teacher's using strategies like pacing. So I always have to think about what's good, and then I constantly track using timestamps. At this time, you called on John 4 times. So these are like factual evidence that she can refer to, like, yeah, I did call on John a lot. And if I see a lot of that in my note taking skills, then I realize, oh, this is one skill we need to work on.
Yeah. So do you have you ever done scripting, for example?
Of
Yep.
course, all the time.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, I'm sure you all do, but just making sure, scripting is where you write out everything that happens in a lesson, and you write out what the teacher says, what she does, all that stuff. And if you can do that and then bring it into ChatGPT, you can quantify some of that stuff and show those things that you're talking about. Like she called on Johnny 4 times, or she said, look at this, look at this, look at this 100 times throughout the lesson. And that's obviously a filler word that she's saying for whatever reason. And you can have conversations like that. Now, the power with this is that you can do some pretty cool things once you see some of this data. So we're going to look at these. I got responses from all of these assistant principals. There were 40 of them, and they were all open-ended. So there was no choose A, B, C, or D, which is, again, legislative convenient and very easy for us to use to know whether or not kids are getting things and whether or not teachers are understanding things. But it's not always the best because you can just guess. If you have to write out an actual answer, then it makes it a little bit more challenging. So in the session, one of the questions that I asked was on the survey, is what is one new learning that will help you lead? And as you look at this graph, you see that 41% said that it was something about mindset, and 44% said that it was something about the disc or personality, which is something that we went over in there. And then over here, 6% said that it was about communication, and 9% said that the one learning they'll take back was about vision. Now, here's what's really interesting about this. The disc portion was a decent size part of it, but it was not 44% of the event. It was a day and a half, and I spent an hour only talking about disc or personality. The other thing, the mindset, I only spent 45 minutes talking about that. So here's what's really interesting. Those things I learned really resonated with the participants. And this is something that you can use to categorize what you're doing and help you see what kinds of things are powerful and helpful and beneficial to the people that you're working with. Okay, next one. We talked about 3 things. This training was called Show Up, Lead Up, and Level Up in order to move up to whatever you call moving up. That could be becoming a principal. It could be getting a district job, whatever you want, however you want to define it. The part that was most challenging through this process was the lead up section. In the lead up section, I was asking people to role play and participate in giving feedback to their superiors, which is a very challenging thing for people to do. So when people made commitments about what they were going to do, the fewest committed to leading up, and most people committed to leveling up and to showing up. Now, in just a second, I'm going to show you these categories and how I used ChatGPT to help me organize them. And here's what's amazing. I went through and took all their open-ended responses and said, put this in the category of level up, show up, or lead up. And ChatGPT was able to do that without me saying, this is what it means to show up, lead up, or level up. So really powerful. Also, I get some good insight that 16% didn't commit to doing the hard thing. So that helps me know what I need to be focusing on in the future. Also, here's the other thing that's interesting about this data. The showing up and leveling up parts were about personality and mindset on this previous slide. Now, so interesting because the difficult part, the communication, was about the leading up. So really interesting insights from this specific example. So think about how that can help you. Okay. Part of this activity also was, I saw activity and then I just lost my mind. Part of this questionnaire was, how could this be improved? And so people put in things about activity, time, content, the topic, collaboration. And so I just tagged them with each of these different things that they came up with. And what's really cool is that you can see this word none is kind of big here. The AI recognized that none of the comments did not pertain to any of the tags that I'd created for it. And so it was easy for it to say, you know, this doesn't pertain, or there's no suggested improvements, which was good. I'm glad that there are no suggested improvements. That was big. And then the last question in the survey asked for, what else do you want to say? And so 3% had a question, 17% gave praise and said this was good and worthwhile, and then 79% gave gratitude. And again, being able to mash these things up and show where people are at and what they're feeling. My takeaway from this is maybe we should have given them an opportunity to express gratitude outside of the survey and do something to show gratitude outside of the survey. It could have been a card to the association that brought me in. It could have been, a note to somebody else. Any of those things would have been powerful and probably would have helped solidify what it was that people were learning. All right, last slide, and then I'll show you the actual data. So this was really cool because I asked the question, what would be of more interest for you going forward? And then I took ChatGPT and took their open-ended responses and said, make a title for a training that we could do in the future based on what these people said. So they said mastering DISC for team success. That makes sense. Compliance, conduct, and AI, navigating legal and leadership challenges. This was something that I talked about AI a lot and people wanted to know more about it. The next one they said was building bridges with restorative coaching, which was something that was not part of what I presented on, but something that naturally is a second step from what I created. And I think that piece of being able to pull that in is really powerful. Finally, the last two, developing your leadership voice and nurturing school culture, and then effective strategies for managing behavior. Those both are really powerful and good stuff. Like you say there, this could work for identify the next steps for professional development for sure. What comments do you have? I went through a lot there. So what are you thinking about, Cassandra?
I'm thinking about so much, like, wow, what would happen if I took survey results about feedback on professional development, or took a pulse of the room and able to monetize that, or even took open-ended questions to ask my principal or leadership team to kind of see where they need support, because as a coach, we're always coaching up and we're coaching down, so it really doesn't matter. But it'd be great to kind of quantify what this looks like, and then see what are my next steps with my leadership and what are my next steps with my teachers.
Yeah, I think that this piece of identifying what needs to come next is really powerful. People do, they did identify what they wanted, and I'll show you these results in just a second. But what was really cool was seeing how they were able to come in and, like it could make the decision about what the topic should be based on what they said. As a little technical piece here for a moment, Cassandra, could you send an invite to Travis to join us? He's not able to join, and we want him to be a host as well. If you can do that while I show the next thing, and hopefully we can multitask, right? Let's see.
Yes. Can you put it in the chat, his or information in the comments?
Yes. Travis at SchoolAI.com. And if you are watching and you just got his email address, he wants to hear from you.
Yeah. There we go. Let me find him.
Okay.
How do I
That's kind of fun.
him?
So that went out to everywhere. I'm happy to hear that. Travis will certainly appreciate that.
Yeah. Let's see. Travis. I thought he was coming.
Okay. So I'm going to share my screen here. And I'm going to pull up this data that I brought. And that should be... There we go. Okay. So this is, of course, a little bit difficult to see because it's on a small screen, but I just want to show a couple things here. Number one, I didn't want people's email addresses to be showing up here for all the world to see after they submitted this to me, and I didn't want to use their private data to share with everybody else. So first thing I did is I used ChatGPT to make up new names for everybody who's on here. So there was nobody named Michael Chen or Sarah Patel or Maria Garcia in this thing. And what's cool is that I could instantly anonymize it and have no way of telling who did what, which I want to respect people and respect their privacy. And so that's important to me. So I talked about this before. This is the, as a result of this workshop, what is one way you will lead up? And everybody's responses, I wanted to just see the sentiment. I didn't add this into the presentation because I didn't think it was very pertinent. So I have positive, neutral, neutral, positive, positive, etc. Thankfully, no negatives on this one, but mostly positive and neutral. And I just got the sentiment. This next question over here in column E, that is green here and now a little blue. So this is what they answered. And then I put the category of communication, DISC or personality, mindset, and vision. Those were the four things that people were commenting on most of all. And so I was able to see what everybody said. These are my ugly Google graphs. I like the ones I made in the slideshow better. So, okay. So then we got their commitments. Again, these were categories, things that we could do different, and titles for next steps. I put those on here also. I wanted it to summarize it in 3 words or less, which was kind of cool. Just wanted to be able to read through it real quick and get the gist. It did a pretty good job of that. I didn't include that either. And then finally, we have here the tags. And so I did location, topic, time, activity, connection, collaboration, and content. And the AI was able to pull out and say, none of this applied, and these are all the tags. And what was cool about this is that I could see how many people said each tag, and then I could bring that into a Wordle cloud and do some cool things with that. And then finally, the categorization of the final things they said, gratitude and praise, which we talked about. Now, think about any form results that you get from your people, what you can do, and you can start doing some of this stuff as well. My last thing to share is to ask you a question. What is it that you could do? What would this look like for you? How could you make this work for you, and how would it work? This is something that I put Travis's email in the chat already. You're welcome, Travis. And and also wanted to make sure that if you want to reach out to us and chat, we'd love to help you on this and help you figure out what this looks like. And with that, I want to turn the time over to Travis, who is here joining us, and invite him to share a little bit about more about SchoolAI and co-teachers specifically.
Okay, thank you. I am so excited to be here. I apologize. I was getting some echo on my end, so it was hard to tell when it was getting turned over to me. But I'm here and I'm excited. I apologize. There was an intense blizzard on the road here in Utah, so it kept me a little bit. But I am going to share my screen with you, and I have something that I'm excited to show you. It is what we've been working on so much here at SchoolAI. And Cassandra did a demo with us a little bit ago, and we've come so far since that point. And so, a really quick demo that I want to give. And a preface to this is that you all are education coaches, and we know that you are leaders in your community. There are teachers that look to bring quality information to them, and we want to supply with those types of tools. So right now, what we're developing is Co-Teacher. Co-Teacher is a wonderful tool that has 3 phases of magic. First phase, you are able to craft lesson plans based on any topic that you would like, right? And so you see here a placement filler that's ranked 10th to a 9th grade class. I have 3 examples that I want to show you today. So first example is an English example, the power of personification in the book Thief. So I want to use this example just to point out a few things, and I'll move to other examples. But first, it comes up with a summary for you of your lesson plan. Next, in every one of these lesson plans, you're going to notice that there is a try something new category. This is an off-the-wall idea that likely you haven't tried in the past. Next, you're going to have learning outcomes. These learning outcomes are so important because they're going to dictate part of the assessment that the AI is going to auto-generate for you. So we're going to focus on that in just a minute. But it auto-generates these learning outcomes for you, along with an introduction, analyzing personification in small groups, creating new examples of personification, the pulse check. And what I love so much about this feature is that, let's say you don't like a piece of this lesson plan, you're able to click in here and edit any piece of this. So you can take one of these suggestions, or you can type in anything that you would like, whether you want it to be more collaboration or anything of that nature, and it will actually remix that section for you, right? Because we know that you are the professional in your classroom, and AI has not come to replace you or the teachers in your stewardship, but it has come to empower you to be the best possible professional and teacher in that classroom. The second example I'd like to show you, and I'm just going to kind of briefly go over the same features again, because what happens is every time that you use this tool, as AI is generating it, it will come up with different resources for you. So I want to let you see the breadth of what these lesson plans can look like. So this one is a business example, selling strategies. So once again, you have a summary. Once again, it delivers you these learning outcomes. I love the activities that this one gives you, as it has the students clearly define the target demographic. It actually has them walk through a case study, the Glossier case study, and then an activity that is a print advertisement. I thought that was wonderful. The third example I want to show you really quickly is I had it craft a lesson on who was the best Marvel superhero. And it walks through, once again, learning outcomes. I love the activities here. So it had them craft mind maps. We walked through some character exploration. It actually brought in a Kahoot quiz, which I thought was really fun for the class. And then I loved this part, the hero showdown, where the students would divide up and have a debate on who the hero would be.
Hey,
So I thought
Travis.
that was a lot of fun. And that is the first piece of the magic with Co-Teacher. The second portion comes in here with a classroom pulse.
Hey, Travis.
So the way that a pulse works is a teacher is able to generate a pulse like this. And for those of you who are interested in this tool and you're thinking, hey, I would love to see this and learn a little bit more about it, I'll tell you how in just a moment you can schedule a call with me.
Travis,
so
we
that,
can't see it, buddy.
I can give you an individualized demo and walkthrough and let you craft your own lesson plan and pulse. And I'll show you how this works in more detail for today. I'm just going to skim over it for time. But with this pulse, what you're able to do is every student in your classroom, either on their phone or on their Chromebook, is able to open up a pulse questionnaire. It's an assessment. But this isn't just an ordinary assessment. What this is that you are actually given access to a chatbot within AI that, oh no, could you not see my screen?
We couldn't. It was just on the school teacher or co-teacher landing page. That was it.
Oh.
It's okay. It's okay. You could go because we really want to see it because I think we have a lot of coaches that are truly interested in like, what does this look like? Because this is kind of the future. And this is one thing I want to make sure that we included.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay. I apologize about that. Here I am. I apologize. So now can you see my screen as I go to the different pages? Okay, perfect. Wow, I apologize. So
It's all
now
good.
you've heard me explain it. Now you get to see the visual. So here's what I was talking about before. So it crafts a summary for you. Off the wall, try something new example. These learning outcomes are what I mentioned a second ago, where these learning outcomes are going to dictate the assessment that auto-generates for you at the end of the class period. There's introductions, an analysis, creating examples of personification. The beautiful thing here, as I mentioned before when you couldn't see my screen, the teacher is a professional in the classroom. And so it's going to give you recommendations, whether it's in paragraph form here, or if I go to a different example, you'll see bulleted list here. And what you can do is you can actually edit this list and custom tailor it to your specific plan that you want to get done as a teacher, right? So important as you know best what your students need in the classroom. Now, the example I was giving of the pulse assessment at the end of the class. So here's what that looks like, is you would come in here as the teacher and you would choose to pulse students. You could choose to do this daily. You can choose to do this at the end of the week. You could choose to do this as a review before a big test. Whenever you want to get a pulse and check and see where are my students at, this is when you want to do this. And so you would send this out to all the students' phones, their Chromebooks, whatever tech they're using in the class. And now I will stop sharing to come back with you. So what happens with that pulse is you actually get the opportunity to see the teams or the participants' responses flowing in as they're participating in that assessment. But this isn't just a static assessment where there's a question and an answer. It is highly personalized in that it becomes a text conversation with an AI tutor that is walking your students through the process of what they're understanding and what they're not understanding. So what this is going to do is it's going to take those outcomes, those objectives that come within each lesson, and it's going to help those students understand those outcomes and walk them up Bloom's taxonomy so that they're understanding how to analyze and evaluate and ultimately to take what they've learned and create something new on their own. The beauty here is that if we would have told this to you 6 months ago, it would have been science fiction. But with the rollout of this technology, it is now possible that we can increase the use of best practices in the classroom. We can more personally individualize learning while we save teachers time and lighten the load off of a teacher's plate. This is the type of thing that the teachers in your community are going to be thanking you for introducing them to. Right now, CoTeacher is 100% free. We are in beta, and it's free for teachers to use. So that's for you. That's for the teachers in your community. What we have here is, thank you so much for dropping that link. So if you go to SchoolAI.com, we have two options for you. One, you can hop on a wait list. And that wait list is for those of you listening today who are saying, hey, this looks really cool, and I really want to use a version that's polished. And so once things are tested out and you've confirmed that they're working, I don't want to see it in beta. I want to get it when it's a little more polished. You want to join the wait list. For those of you who are saying, I want first access to the different features as they roll out, I want to have my fingerprints all over this product because I want to provide feedback. I want to have my influence shape how those lesson plans are going to be crafted, and I want to help refine the model. Then the second option is to make yourself a VIP. That option will book a call with me or one of my colleagues, and we will invite you to be on the inside, helping us craft this tool so that it is the best tool in the world to help teachers around the world. That is what I have for you today. So again, go to SchoolAI.com to hop on the wait list or become a VIP. Thank you so much for having that screenshot up for us here. That this is what you can expect to see when you go to SchoolAI.com and click on Get Started.
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
Travis, Cassandra, thank you both so much. Appreciate you and appreciate everybody here who's watching. Specific shout out to our friends Janice, I hope I said your name right, and Kevin, who got us squared away here a little bit. Appreciate you all. Thanks everybody for being here. Again, SchoolAI.com. Please reach out to us if you want to talk more. Yeah. I'll give you the final words there, Cassandra.
Well, I think this is the future, you guys. I really think a collaborative space where we can kind of get a jump start on creating these lesson plans that will eventually reach a global platform. Like who wouldn't want to be in on this? So I think this is a great opportunity for you to just to step your toe into AI and to get a whiff of what's going on and just to be involved in the next generation. So thank you guys for coming. I really, well, thanks for inviting me. I really appreciate you guys for adding me. You're such a wonderful people just to be connected to. So
thank you and goodbye, everybody. Appreciate you being here. We will see you again. Look forward to chatting in the future.
Bye.
Thank you so much.